think you know California, you probably are missing the best parts. Question for you guys. What is it about California that people do not fully understand until they experience it?
The first thing that pops into my mind, Pat, is there's an old west in California. Wyatt Earp spent most of his years here rather than what people think in Tombstone. So old
Wow.
west. Who knew?
Who knew? Liza, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I think for me, it's that you really should just drive everywhere because instead of flying everywhere, I know it's a big state, and that it's easier and blah, 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 more convenient, but it is just so exciting to find all of those tiny little places on the road where you go, wait a minute, what's that? Let's stop. So just drive everywhere in California. Go on a road trip with your dad if you can. That's what we made a show about.
I want to thank my listeners for either listening or watching to Inspire Travels with Patti. If you're new here, I created this podcast and YouTube channel to inspire you to live life more fully. And for me, that's through adventure, unique experiences, and exploring new places. And today's expert guests are here to share the hidden gems and off the beaten path places to visit in California, unique things to do, and travel tips. Let me introduce Pat Pattison and Liza to Inspire Travels with Patti. And that is Pat Pattison's Best of California. So we are going to talk about your YouTube channel, your social media. You guys have it all. And you are a TV host, you're a blogger, you have social media, YouTube channel, so much. You were an executive for Disney. And I'm going to jump in. Welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you. This is
And I'm
great.
going to let you talk about some of that experience. You, Pat, were an executive at Disney.
Yeah,
So,
in fact, this isn't really me, Pat. It's an animatronic. I'm no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yes, there you go.
Yeah, no, so I was a Disneyland exec years ago, former life pretty much, and at Disneyland and at the Disney Studios. So there's just a lot I know about the history. My family came to California in the 1880s, and so we've been here an unusually long time. Most people are from somewhere else, and we just have lived a lot of the history. I grew up in Orange County, so Disney was obviously a place that I always aspired to. So I've been very lucky. And then this most recent chapter, doing the show with my daughter Liza, has been a bonus round.
Yes. So let's get in and talk. How did that get created? Whose idea was it? You're sitting around the kitchen table. How do you come up with, hey, we're going to travel California together and, create content? How did that happen? Tell the story.
Well, to be honest, I mean, Liza was my inspiration. She's been an actress all of her life, and I would sit in the audience looking at her up on stage, and I'd go, "God, that looks like fun." So about 20 years ago, I started doing commercials. So, I got into commercials, I did some television, and then somebody said, you'd be a good news person. And so I started doing news segments and that kind of thing. And it just evolved into me interviewing people. And there used to be a guy here in Southern California named Huell Hauser. And before him, there was a guy named Ralph Story. And they did these kind of quirky, out of the way California stories. And Huell passed away about, very beloved guy, passed away about 10 years ago. And I just said, somebody should still be doing that. There is plenty of bad news about California that people like to harp on. And I said, we need an outlet for good news. So that's how it got started.
So, Liza, when he came to you and told you about this idea, what was your response?
I mean, to be checking out cool places and historical places and nature and all the best food in California, I was pretty excited.
There you go. Okay. So
Now tell them the truth about when I would drive you around and give you history lessons.
Yes, so
Yeah.
my theory on how the show got started was that I would get driven around by Dad, and we'd be listening to his tapes and his CDs in the car because he was teaching me about real music. And we would be going around Los Angeles, usually the Hollywood area, and he'd be pointing out the Mulholland Fountain. He'd be pointing out Capitol Records. He'd be pointing out all these things. And he would say, "Now, did I ever tell you the story about that building?" And I would just go, "Dad, yes. You've told me 7 times. Let me tell you the story. I know it so well." And so I just think that Dad kind of wanted a more captive audience. So he started the show so that people would find him really interesting.
Well, that is incredible. And you and I, Pat, met at the Gaylord Hotel in San Diego. We were both there for a conference. It was packed with people. And you came up to me and you asked, because there were a lot of people, including me, walking around with pillows and blankets. And you asked why I was walking around with a pillow. And I was at a retreat. And so, yes, we had our conference had pillows. And so we just hit it off. And when you said you go around and do content on California, I knew I had to have you on the show. And then you talked about your daughter. So it was a bonus. So I cannot wait. Let's dive in. I'm going to let you pick an area of California that you want to start in or a hidden gem and start with a place that my listeners and I absolutely have to go check out.
So the first one that pops into my mind is a little western town called Orcutt, and it's up in the Central Coast, and it is recently known for its cuisine. So this is a place that you just blow right by on the 101, kind of close to Nipomo. So there's multiple places to stop and eat here. One very famous one is Jocko's Steakhouse in Nipomo. And it's when I first pulled up to Jocko's, I thought maybe there was a fair in town or a carnival. You know, there were 200 cars in this parking lot. And I went, oh, they're all here to eat steak. And then right across the highway is Orcutt, Kay's Country Kitchen, incredible pizza there. There's a number of local breweries. So there's a lot of these little mom and pop places in California that I love to promote and give support to. So that's one place I can pick up right off the bat. What about you, Liza?
I thought it was really magical kayaking in Lodi. They're just, that with my age, I think that there are just still certain places in California that I had never heard of. And so it really is fun when you've never heard of a place. And so at least for me, I'll admit that I kind of have a judgment about the place before I even visit it. Well, I've never heard of it. So what could be there? And it was amazing. We met some amazing people there. We always kind of go off besides what we planned on doing. We'll find some other things that we get really excited about. Sometimes that's what it's the best thing to find. So yeah, kayaking around in Lodi was really cool. So I highly recommend that.
Where is Lodi in California?
Lodi is kind of Central Valley. So it's up in what is very, very much wine country. Everybody remembers the song Stuck in Lodi Again. I think that's the main, it was a Creedence Clearwater song. Maybe I'm dating myself. Maybe nobody remembers it. Anyway, there was an old song in my day.
He never does that.
Stuck in Lodi Again. And they use that in their city motto. They say, we're glad we're stuck in Lodi. So it's a great spot up in the Central Valley.
Okay. And I just want my listeners to know, because you've already given a number of great suggestions, these will all be listed in the show notes. So for those people just listening, they don't have to take notes on it. It'll all be there. Okay. So now we're in Central California. What are some other hidden gems? And Today's talk is about the hidden gems, the off the beaten path. I love finding those out of the way places. So, what's
Oh,
next?
I'm going to let Liza take one. I'm going to prompt her a little bit. There's a city called Oroville
I
up
was
in the
about to
gold.
make sure that also because this we do kind of a boomer millennial thing, Pat, where because I'm so addicted to GPS, I kind of have to wait for Dad to tell me is that in that area. But yes, I'll take it from here. There's an amazing Chinese temple in a town called Oroville, and it is just the most spiritual, well maintained. Just it is like I don't want to give it disrespect by saying this because it just is itself, but it's like a movie set. It is just really worth going to visit. You just feel really relaxed. You feel really centered. There is this amazing architecture that have these round walkways that you go through. And they have a lot of amazing history that you find out about how a lot of the people that were from China that lived there brought all of this amazing culture, and that there's still people that dedicate themselves, they're all volunteers on preserving that history.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
love that stuff. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
and then I
Julie.
love to kind of dig into the history of places like that and find out about why the Chinese community was there because of the railroads, and then how they stayed. And they even have a extant is the right word, but an old Chinese herb apothecary uh,
Right.
that actually still has the herbs from back in 18
Wow.
whatever it is. So
That's
it's
incredible.
and Liza said it best at one point in the interview, which you can see on our YouTube channel. If this was in LA, there'd be a 2-hour line waiting for it.
Swarms. There would
Yeah,
be swarms.
yeah. So anyway, that was a really good one.
And just to let my audience know that a lot of what we're talking about or all of what we're talking about will be on your YouTube channel in depth. And
Yeah.
the channel is
Pat Pattison's Best of California.
okay, and that'll be put in the
Yeah.
show notes.
Yeah.
Okay, already, wow. Yes, I have to come back out to California and check these places
Sure.
out. Where are we going from here?
Well, one thing we're doing, I want to mention to your viewers, is we're doing uh, a a deal with the state of California, visiting all the welcome centers here in California, and
All the
we've got
what?
the welcome centers. So
Oh, the welcome
California
centers.
has a very robust system of over 20 welcome centers regionally, and I really recommend, particularly for seniors, which I am, uh, that they can go to this welcome center and I I I say, seniors don't have to have an itinerary. You've done RV, Pat, and you kind of need to be inspired. Sometimes the internet isn't enough. I'm going to a website. If you go to these welcome centers, there's actually people there that can talk to you about the local conditions, the local, is it going to be too hot on that day for me to go here? Are there too many steps? Is it too,
Right.
and I really encourage people to do these welcome centers. And the one we just did was down in Oceanside, and it has the best surf museum I've ever seen. I'm a lousy intermittent surfer, but I love the ocean, and I grew up in the surf culture. And there's just an amazing surf museum, and it has the kind of little bit chilling artifact of there was a woman that you may have remembered in the news, Brittany Hamilton, who lost an arm. She was a surfer to a shark attack, and they have her surfboard there, and it's a surfboard with a giant chunk taken out of it. And this woman since then has gotten back to surfing. She's a world champion, and it's a very inspirational story. So I love museums and places like that to visit.
And to your point, the welcome centers as an RVer, that is something that I encourage people to do because, yes, you could look at the map, you could do all this research, but going into the welcome centers and talking to the people in there can really shed a lot of light on what's there and such a wealth of information that you probably wouldn't just find out going yourself. So definitely welcome centers are a great place to go. There's history there. So if you're taking the kids, it's a great history lesson and just so much to see. So that's a great suggestion.
And they usually have a clean bathroom.
That
Clean
makes,
bathrooms.
yeah, let's talk about that. That makes the biggest difference
I'm
when you're on a
sure.
road trip.
Oh, it is. We talk about it all on here, but
Uh,
I traveled in an RV, like you said, for over 3 years for people who are new. And we had a Class A RV, so it full bathroom, it had it all. But there were times, you take the car and you go for a drive, and having those clean bathrooms are very important. The other things that a lot of RVers do is we collect stickers. I don't have my sticker
oh, sure.
board handy. And so usually in those centers you could find the sticker so you know where
Nice.
you've been. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Isn't that great?
Okay. Where to now?
For me, when it's something very memorable for Pat Pattison's Best of California, is if it's cool, or if it has to do with nature, or if it's artsy, or if it has really good food. So one of those places for me was definitely the Knott's Boysenberry Festival. Might not be much of a hidden gem. They probably wouldn't even want to be called that. But it was cool. There was some nature because it was a lot of the stuff was local. It was artsy. It was just fantastic. So Dad and I had a really fun time just tasting around at the Boysenberry Festival.
Yeah, that's Knott's Berry Farm of Buena Park, which is very close to Disneyland. And it was the first theme park. Here's my history nerd part.
Yeah, take it away, Dad.
Was the first theme park in the world, and where boysenberries were invented.
So
So
the first state park in the world.
first theme park in the world.
And where boysenberries were invented. Wow. That's incredible. That's a great piece of history.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I'll piggyback on that with the Old West stuff because I'm such a fan of that. Is Walter Knott collected buildings, and he went out to old ghost towns all over California and moved the buildings to Buena Park. Initially, because so many people came to their place to eat chicken dinners. This is Knott's dinner. And that he wanted to give them something to do while they were standing in line. So he put these places around, and that's what created a theme park.
Oh, wow.
Back in the
Wow.
30s and 40s. And my mom used to talk about driving to the beach and stopping and getting the chicken and the pie. So it's quite a local history with that
Yeah,
one.
if anyone has gone to Knott's, and there's your hidden gem, I think. If anyone has gone to Knott's Berry Farm for just the rides or just the Boysenberry Festival, go get their chicken. It is incredible. I have friends who drive to Buena Park just to have dinner and eat the chicken there. Like it really is good.
Wow. And I should have put a warning at the beginning of this. I know for myself, I'm already hungry
Yep.
thinking
Right.
about all this food you've been talking about.
I'm
So
always
thank you
hungry.
for that. Yes.
And
That sounds great.
while we're on Buena Park, a really cool place that had amazing food is called the Cauldron, and it is a witch-owned and witch-themed bar,
All in California. All in
that-
California.
right? That sells that they specialize in French cuisine, and the woman used to what was her role again, Dad?
She was one of the creative directors at Knott's Berry Farm, so she would design the rides and design a lot of the special effects.
Yes, so of course, because she had that role there, it was the most detailed, like amazing. There were shadows of cats skittering across cast on the walls. Like it is a really cool bar with really good French cuisine. So the Cauldron Spirits and Brews is so good.
These are places that you go that it's not just going for food. There's an experience there. And I
Mhm.
really love that. It's just, you immerse yourself in it. You don't just go in and eat. That's a great suggestion.
I think people almost expect it now to have an experience.
Yeah. And I wish more people, honestly, not to talk anything negative, but would turn the TVs off. If you go into a sports bar, that's fine. But you go
Yeah.
into a restaurant and there's all these TVs on. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
And Pat, you're so right. And I'll just give my little speech about the fact, there's so many people. You have them where you are. People have them in every state they are. They remember that cute little ice cream place that used to be there, and it stopped being there because nobody went to it. They were busy going to the McDonald's for something cheaper. They were going to some other store or buying on Amazon. You got to support these places to keep
Yeah.
them moving.
Every
Yeah.
time. Like that's the
Right.
consistency is like, oh, I'm in a rush. Like just do it.
Right. Making time for it.
Mhm.
Yes, that is great advice. To just slow down a little bit, make time, have the meal. And I know I have 3 kids and you're rushed and you're working and all of that, but slow down a little bit. That's what I talk about. That's what this podcast is about, like living life more fully. So going into those places and being able to take the environment in, I mean, that's what it's about.
Stop and smell the orange blossoms, as we
There
say.
you go. Yes.
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 Yes. We had the cherry blossoms.
There you go.
And it's a good point because I've lived in Philadelphia pretty much my whole life until I moved out to Las Vegas and then got in the RV. And Washington, D.C. is 2 hours away. And after the cherry blossoms are gone, I always say, oh, I wish I had gone. They look so beautiful. It's only 2 hours away.
That's right.
That's a car drive. And this year, I swore I was going and I got there and I was so glad. You have to, it's great to have the bucket list, but you have to go and do it. Make the plan, get there, just see these things like orange blossoms and cherry blossoms
That's
and
right.
all kinds of things.
Now,
Okay.
Exactly. Something that just popped into my head also is sweet treats. I know Dad has a real sweet tooth, way more than I do. And so tell them the story about that prank you pulled on me at Torrance Bakery, Dad.
oh, yeah. So everywhere we go, I try to factor in a local bakery, ice cream joint, best milkshake, best sundae. And there's a very famous place in Torrance, California, which is here in the LA area, and it's called the Torrance Bakery, and we in advance we sent the bakery pictures of myself and Liza, and they were able to make a cake with our faces on them. And so Liza was showing up a little later in the shoot,
And
and
I was so curious why he didn't mind that I was running late.
so we had these cakes out. I was decorating one, and then the woman brought out this cake that had Liza's face on it. She was surprised. And then
And you had, excuse me, yeah, you almost left the one part out.
so after she saw how beautiful it was, I put a mustache on it, just like
Wow.
any dad would do,
Oh,
or at least this
Yes,
dad.
it's got to be a challenge traveling with him,
he's
Liza.
a
A little bit of a challenge.
pranker, Pat. He's a pranker. You
I
gotta
Wow.
watch
know.
yourself with him.
Yeah. Well, I love the idea of sweets everywhere I go. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I might go out for ice cream tonight just because we're talking about it.
Me
And
too.
find, yes, ice cream sundaes for everyone. I
Mhm.
found this little ice cream place because I'm in a new town that I've been in. And I just searched ice cream places and I found this little ice cream place. And it's like from, I don't know what the year back in the day, like old, not
Right.
sure what the time frame, but they're so warm and welcoming. It's so much fun. It's an experience. It's a place you go, take the whole family, hang out. And those places are great. And I want people to know that those places exist in your neighborhood, in your area. You just
Yeah.
got to go look for them.
we have the distinction. I disparaged McDonald's and whatnot earlier, but McDonald's started here in California, in
It
San.
did? Another piece of history?
You could actually do a tour of all the fast food places that have started in California. Some of them still exist, but you've got McDonald's, you've got Taco Bell, you've
We
got
have that.
Bob's Big Boy, still a Bob's Big Boy in Old Fashioned, which is was it Shoney's, I think, out your way with the Big Bob character.
Yeah.
And there's a great Bob's Big Boy still in existence in Burbank that we did a segment on where we sat in the booth that the Beatles sat in when they came to LA and played at the Hollywood Bowl.
Really cool.
A&W Root Beer, Foster Freeze.
We don't have that.
It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah. You have In-N-Out Burger,
Well,
right?
I found, yeah, that's
We don't have
the
that.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have that.
Sorry.
But you know what? Living in Las Vegas, we had it. I'm not a fan.
Not a big
I'm
deal.
sorry. I think it's what you grow up with.
Cancel the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a marketing. Yeah,
That's it,
I
done.
agree with you, Pat. It's a bit of a marketing thing.
Sorry.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
People gravitate towards long lines.
I will say that I've been to that Bob's Big Boys a couple of times because my husband was from LA. He was born and raised there. He was a child actor from the time he was 6 months old. He was a producer, director. He worked on big movies. So that was like, we had to go there. And it is cool because there is so
Well-
much history. So Bob's Big Boy is one that I could say I recommend. So I'll add to the list.
In and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Liza's now okay with me, what if you have other tips?
I've calmed down. I've calmed down.
You're okay.
Well, something that we did recently for the opposite of cheeseburgers is that we went to some amazing fine dining at the Sky Room at the Fairmont Breakers Hotel, which was incredible. And just they did a lot of construction. Dad can speak on the history of this building, but they
These are
really
Long
updated.
Beach, Long Beach, California. Yeah.
Yes, this is in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
And it is just amazing what the chef does there. But more importantly, the history side of it, Dad. Can you tell us a little bit about that building?
Yeah, it's just that Long Beach was leveled in an earthquake in 1932. It lost virtually, I think it was like 80 or 90% of its buildings. And this was because the buildings here in California used to be brick and mortar, and then they started very early reinforced concrete. And two buildings that were made out of reinforced concrete remained standing, and this Breakers Hotel was one of them. And it's famous for the fact that Charles Lindbergh, on one of his around the world deals, got lost, and he used the beacon at the top of the Breakers Hotel to land his plane. So you just have a lot of that kind of, and many movie stars have been at the Sky Room. Cary Grant, Gary Cooper, all those people. So you see the pictures of the movie stars. So people that come to Southern California and want to do those movie haunts, we have a lot of videos about those, and film locations. They might have, TV shows like Pat and your husband, that they might recognize of a location. And one of the most famous is out towards Santa Clarita, a place called Vasquez Rocks. Mm-hmm. And Vasquez Rocks has been in every iteration of Star Trek. So from the beginning with William Shatner all the way up to Picard or whatever the most recent one is, you'll recognize.
So where is that? Because that would be
Santa
cool.
Clarita, which is probably a half hour from downtown LA, maybe a little more. So it's famous for the fact that the minute you see it, you go, "Oh, I've seen this place a dozen times. It's got these rocks that go on an angle like this," and there's a boundary within the unions in Los Angeles where the unions don't get paid for extra travel, and that boundary was created just to barely include Vasquez Rocks, because they would everything from Dracula to, Westerns, to, the Flintstones, to everything. It's just one of the most filmed locations in history, really.
Wow, that is really cool. I would see a lot of those type places. We didn't go there, but because
Yeah.
of his background, there were places we went to. But that was one, yeah, that'd be really cool.
Speaking of recognizable rocks, I didn't know. Should we make a book about that, Dad?
Yeah, that's
Um,
it. Well, see,
I recently went to Malibu Creek State Park, and they had filmed some of the Planet of the Apes there, and also MASH. And so there were all these areas where you'd look back on your phone and you'd go, "Oh my God, there's that rock." So Malibu Creek State Park is really cool for if you want to look at some cool rocks too.
yeah, that's a good
Well,
one.
my father, that was one of his favorite shows was MASH.
There
So
you go.
that would be cool to go see.
The exteriors were shot there.
Yeah, they have some of the old rusty. They never took
Gee.
out some of the pieces, the automobiles and stuff, so they're still there.
These are really hidden gems, and I don't think a lot of people know about like different things than going just to, I know there's, national parks and things
Yeah.
like that. These are the kind of things that I really love. Okay, we're going to talk a couple more, but I do
Sure.
want to let people know they can reach you on YouTube at Pat Pattison,
Best to California.
that's in
Yeah.
California,
And I think
on
I think the shortcut is Pat Pattison TV,
Okay.
and our Facebook is the same, Pat Pattison's Best to California, and our Instagram, Liza, since you're in
Our
charge of social.
Instagram is _ best of California.
and I'll put links in the show notes so people could just click on it and get you guys.
And I also encourage people, if they just search our name, Pat Pattison's Best of California, in their TV service, we're probably on a TV channel in their market because we air all over the country, the half-hour show. So,
Yeah, it's easy to get to you guys for sure. I'll make it just a little easier with the links, the actual links. So thank you guys so much for all the incredible information for this part one, all of the hidden gems, well, many of the hidden gems in California. And people are going to be able to see so much more by going to all of your YouTube, your social media that'll be posted. And I want to just, for my audience, reach out to Pat and Liza. All of their information will be there for you. And anybody that wants to reach out to me, if this is content you want to hear more of course, hit the follow button or the share button and the subscribe button. It depends on the platform you're on. You know what to do. It really helps when you hit those buttons. And I want to leave you with one last thought. Living life fully is about adventure. What new experience or place will you explore next?